Hi, my name is Justin Morris, and like you, I'm a professional martial arts instructor. I've been teaching the martial arts now for well over 20 years. I think I got my start teaching professionally around 1997, but before then, I was actually teaching as an assistant instructor for many years. So it was in the 90s that I started teaching martial arts, and the martial arts have given me and given my family a lot of freedom. It's done a lot of amazing things for us. My martial arts academy has been a huge blessing for me. Not only for me, but the thousands of students that have come in through my doors over the years. And I'm filming this video right now because right now as I film this video, I'm looking at retiring as a martial arts instructor. So it's something for me that's very challenging, it's very difficult, because it's the only thing I've really done and the only thing I've known for so many years is being a martial arts instructor, and it's really been my identity. But about 2 years ago, I was involved in a serious accident, and physically, I'm just no longer able to do the martial arts. I've gone back over and over and over again trying to, and it's just not happening. And so right now I'm looking at retiring. Before I retire, I wanted to create a video series, a series that gave people like you, like me, people that are martial artists, possibly struggling martial artists. I wanted to give you guys some strategies and some tips on just how to run a very successful martial arts school, so we can make sure that this is the best season and the best year that you've ever had as a professional martial artist. Now, there's nothing that I'm looking to get out of this video series. It's absolutely free. I'm just going to be doing it as a, hey, I just wanted this information out there because these are things that I really could have used when I first started as a martial artist. So, speaking of being a martial artist, so my background as a martial arts instructor. I love traditional martial arts. I've been involved in Taekwondo, Karate, Kung Fu for my entire life. I still love practicing those arts. I like traditional weaponry. People know me most for my experience in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. In my state, I'm in the state of Wisconsin. I believe I was the first person in the state of Wisconsin to offer a complete curriculum in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I'm currently ranked as a second-degree black belt, but by the time you see this, I'll probably have my third-degree black belt, and that's kind of when I'm going to make the announcement that I'm retiring from martial arts. And so the martial arts has been a huge part of me, a part of my life, and always will be. As I look towards retirement, the word that really comes to mind is legacy. You know, how can I leave a legacy in my martial arts? I mean, right now we're seeing 100 people a day at my martial arts academy, and I can't just walk away from that, right? I can't leave all those people hanging, those people that are working towards their black belt right now. I can't just close up shop. So there's things that I've been doing to help create a successful martial arts school, even without my presence always there. And the other thing that we're doing is working on leaving that legacy. It reminds me of a quote from a famous author, Stephen Covey, who said, in business, it's important to always start with the end in mind. Now, I thought that my journey in the martial arts would go until I was 70, 80, 90, and I would just die on the mat. I never really realized that here I would be in my early 40s thinking of pulling away from the martial arts and how can I do this effectively and leave a legacy. And so in these videos, I'm going to teach you some of the really, really important things that I've learned to help grow my martial arts school, and some things that I've learned on how to leave that legacy and how to walk away from your martial arts school and still be successful and still have success for your students, have that longevity, right? So the first thing I want to talk about is willingness to learn. And before you watch any of my other videos, I'll have to say you probably already have a fairly strong willingness to learn because you've made it this far through this video. But a willingness to learn is really important. It's like if somebody walked into your martial arts academy and you were going over a basic punch. And so you were saying, okay, we're going to stand like this, chin down, eyes forward. And, we're going to punch from our chin. We're going to rotate our body. You have all these little things you want to tell them. And maybe you do punches different at your martial arts school. It doesn't really matter. But however you're teaching the student to punch, they come in and they say, oh man, I don't punch like that. I stand with the other foot forward. I leave this hand way up and this hand way down. And maybe they have some weird idea, right? This has happened to me before in the martial arts school where a new student has come in. They've had a different idea on how to do the techniques. Those students have never, ever lasted, right? Their willingness to learn is very, very small. Their egos are way too big, and it just never, ever works. And so with this video series, I want to say the more you're willing to learn, the stronger your willingness to learn is, the more you're going to get out of it, and the more you'll probably be able to succeed in your martial arts school. And I'm going to put a challenge out there for you, is that if your willingness to learn is really, really high, and you're willing to take every single step that I mentioned in these videos, I would be willing to work with you one-on-one. And actually, you can have my phone number, we could Skype, we can email, whatever works for you, and I'd be willing to personally mentor you, okay? So that's one opportunity that you have if you're willing to take all the steps that I want to mention. Another thing besides the willingness to learn in the martial arts is who are you learning from? And this is something that I see a lot. So I came basically from nothing. I came from having a martial arts school in my parents' basement, to having a martial arts school in like a woodshed in our backyard. We only could fit 2 people at a time in there. And then I had this like old abandoned house that was like super ghetto. There was no running water. There was birds flying everywhere, but we had a wrestling mat. Then I bought my first building. That building was so small, we could only fit like a few people at a time. And I kept growing and growing and growing to now where I've built this, fairly large martial arts kind of empire. And it's definitely been my identity, and it's given us a tremendous amount of blessings, including total freedom in our lives. And so I built it by using very specific tips and strategies, and also being a very good martial artist. Now, there are people out there right now that have programs like this that you're going to pay money for, and you have to be very you have to be leery of who you're taking this information from, because it's not always good information. The hottest trend that I see right now in martial arts information is people that have fought and competed in the UFC, gone out and started a martial arts school, have been successful, and now they're teaching you how to run a martial arts school. And that's really a bad idea for you guys. It's not going to work for you guys. And the reason it's not going to work because it might not be duplicatable. So, for example, I know a person, they were not a martial arts instructor, they were a fighter, and they did very well for themselves in the UFC, okay? And so they end up making $500,000, $1 million the next year. They say, wow, as I'm looking to do something else with my life, I should teach and be a martial arts instructor. So now they have millions of dollars to put into their martial arts facility. They have huge sponsorships. They're on television, right? And so they're getting all this recognition plus all this money put into their martial arts school. They have money for advertising. And they're also getting advertising just from these pay-per-view events that they're being featured on, because people are seeing them and they're having calls from everywhere. People want to learn from them because they're hot right now, right? However, that's not very duplicatable, right? So when I see somebody that recently won a UFC and now they're teaching people how to become professional martial arts instructors, to me it makes no sense at all. Because you're not going to, well, I don't want to say you're not going to, because we have people from all over watching these videos, but it's possible that if you're not going to win the UFC, if you're not going to get all this money, you might not be able to use that same strategy to have a martial arts school. You may be better off taking advice from someone like me, who started from the bottom and worked his way up using very specific tips and strategies. Okay, so with that said, you guys, once again, I'm Justin. I'm looking forward to working with you in this course, and we're going to get into our next video training right now.